At some point, you have to think for yourself. Anybody with half a brain would look at this news and have some sort of skepticism. Now, it could be true that this was all coincidental, but apparently 4 current and former LA sheriff officers die by suicide within a 24-hour period. Now, this was a huge uptick, 9 suicides this year, according to Pippin, who is the president of the Association for LA Deputy Sheriffs, who told, of all people, CNN, that 9 members of the department have died by suicide this year, a number far surpassing recent years, 1 in 2022, 3 in 2021, and 2 in 2020. Now, Q has talked about tracking suicides and how there's going to be lots of suicides. And you have to really wonder when celebrities or people with power, billionaires, they say, right? They say publicly, I'm not suicidal. And some reason they die by suicide. And they're saying that, no, listen, I'm not going to commit suicide. And so whatever this is, whatever's happening here, and you're expected to believe the story of, hey, this is just coincidental. By no correlation, is there anything here that you should be, suspecting or being suspicious about? You don't have to ask any questions. Just believe us. It's coincidental. We checked it out. It's suicide, right? And so you have to wonder, for all of these occurrences, right? Everything from the 2020 election, we expect to believe that this hockey stick that just went up for all the votes for Biden overnight, and anything that has some kind of coincidental statistical anomaly, you're supposed to just believe it as being, it just happens, as opposed to there being some kind of correlation and it being suspect, right? And you have to actually question these things, because so many of us, we just believe whatever they tell us as being the story. If you have an awakened mind, if you're questioning things, then you would look at this and say, how is this possible? And so we don't know the full story behind this particular instance, but this, among many other instances, whether it is suicides, whether it is votes or any other thing, right, where they tell you one thing, hey, don't look here, right? That the person who died, the chef that died for Obama, right, recently. Oh, this guy just drowned himself in the lake. All of these things that happen, whatever it is, ask yourself, is this the public optics story that's being put out, or is there something else and they're trying to hide it and they have the real information? It's sealed. It's because of some bigger investigation, because it's going to thwart this whole operation, this whole plan that's happening. Who really knows the story? When are they going to come out and tell us the full story? If you look at any movie, you watch anything with regards to how it's going to create mass panic, it's going to disturb and disrupt the operation, the reconnaissance, or whatever it is that needs to be done in secrecy. If you watch those kinds of movies, they would tell you have to, in some sense, put out some story for the public, and then we have to kind of hush and keep quiet everything else. So I'm saying this because you are in a moment in time for which you have to start thinking on your own. God is waking you up. God is allowing you to exercise the power of your brain, to have the Holy Spirit in you, to discuss, to think, and to really have a shrewd, a discerning mind to say that something feels off about what they're telling me. No more are you going to just say, oh, that medication, that shot is going to be good for me. I'm just going to take it. I'm just going to do it. That's because everybody else says it. We're not in that time anymore. You have to realize that the world, Satan, the people that are not godly, they're not out for your best interest. They have other interests in mind. And whether it is for good, purposes, because that we have to watch out for the public and just for their benefit and all these things, that is an excuse for why it's being hidden, why it's not being told and disclosed. This is what you've got to start questioning, because not only this, but many other things in life, you need to step up on your own to really discern and say, is this true, Lord? Is this something that I should take with a grain of salt? Is this something I should believe, or what's going on? So they're going to tell you different things, and it's really up to you to take this and say what's true. So I'm saying this because as more statistics, right, and coincidental type occurrences happen, events happen, you have to really question the official narrative and say maybe that's not true. I'm not saying it isn't and you should automatically discredit it. Maybe it is true. Or you should just say, I will take that with a grain of salt, with some skepticism, and I will table it in the back of my mind and tell myself, okay, it could be true, or there's a different story behind it for the sake of whatever it is that is happening right now. So because these sheriffs, and there's other stories, you're telling me that as I read this story, to understand the gravity of this situation, these 4 real life sheriffs died within 24 hours, and you're supposed to accept it as coincidence. Think about that for a second. And then think about every other thing that is supposed to have this coincidental tone to it, but yet it is statistically almost impossible if you were to do the binomial distribution or whatever the statistical model is to say, is this correlated or not? Ask yourself these questions as more and more news comes out. So love you guys. Talk to you guys very soon.